Today we're talking about how to accept being the villain in another person's story as an INFJ. And it's not something that we should only, accept if it happens and hope it never does and sort of overcome it, but really embrace it, because I believe that for us INFJs, this is one of the hardest things to do. If somebody thinks I'm stupid, I'm okay with that. They can think that. They can underestimate me. If somebody thinks I'm boring, also okay. If somebody thinks I'm weird, yeah, I'm used to that. And I hear this from INFJs over and over again because this is a common theme. All of those things are okay. The thing that really triggers us is if people think we're a bad person, if we have treated them unfairly, if we haven't been fair towards them, if we just show any signs of humanity, which, by the way, doesn't mean that we're going to be understanding of others. It also means that we're going to have moments in which we're selfish, moments in which we don't think how something is going to affect another person. We can't be aware of absolutely everything. And on top of that, all of us will get into situations with people who by default will not like us if we choose ourselves. And it's exactly those situations that cause us the biggest pain, because we're so invested in explaining ourselves and making the other person understand that we had no bad intentions, because we have such a hard time accepting being the villain in somebody else's story. This is no problem for you, great. It definitely is still a problem for me. I still catch myself. I know that in those situations, I'm going to do the things that are necessary, but it still hits me. It's still something that is uncomfortable. I just now have learned that I still have to do what is right for me and not the thing that will make me feel good in the moment and think like, okay, now I'm going to prove to them, or I prove to them that, I didn't have any bad intentions. So let's really talk about it, because I really believe this is one of the things that is keeping us back from, really experiencing all that we can experience. This one thing, it has all to do with our critic function, FI. So this is all about feeling unworthy. And if we understand the concept, we can really make huge strides in our life. Before we get started though, I can officially announce we launched the next INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp on July 20th. So make sure you're on that waiting list to get access to the early bird price and get notified once we go live. If you want to learn more about what the bootcamp is all about, then get the free poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ Epic Life, and everything else you would like to know, you can find in the links in the description. I think it's very important for us to understand that accepting this concept of being a villain in somebody else's story isn't going to feel great. When it comes to being the villain in somebody else's story, we have to start viewing ourselves in that position. Because at the end of the day, if you are, let's say, in this ideal version of yourself, which is all focused on, this is my truth, this is where I'm going, I'm really detached, I, can take into consideration what other people think of me, but I'm the master of my self-worth. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm proud of. I'm the only one who knows how much effort I've put into something. I'm the only one who really knows if I'm a good person or not. So let's say in an ideal world, of course, you're not going to care if somebody thinks you're a villain, because in those situations, you just know that you're a good person and it's all good. And if you feel like I'm not a good person, you're going to just adapt your behavior if this is something that bothers you. The problem though is that we're not an ideal human. We have shortcomings. We have things and qualities that are hard for us to grasp. And this one, our feeling of self-worth, is always going to be something that is going to be extremely hard for us. We're always going to be very critical when it comes to this. And in my experience, it is best to embrace that. To not expect of us to have like this clear image of I'm a good person, and no matter what somebody believes about me, it's not going to affect me. If that's you, great. Please share your secrets with us. It's definitely not something I'm able to do completely. And the INFJs that I've worked with, they've had the same difficulties. And if you look into the literature, if you look into all kinds of teachings when it comes to MBTI related stuff, so everything that is concerned with personality type and socionics and, the work by John Beebe and, Helen Fisher and whatever it may be, like if you look at all of that, this is something that is accepted, that our critic function is something that we always struggle with. And that's going to be very hard on us. So we're going to have a very strong opinion about it when it comes to us and when it comes to other people. And we can really be harsh towards others. We can be very harsh on ourselves. And in my experience, most of the time, it has been directed towards us. So we believe we actually have to be better people than the people we're around in order to be worthy. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we do understand other people so deeply. And it's this thought of, okay, with a lot of power comes a lot of responsibility. And so I can't expect, others to act completely right and just because they just don't have the insight that I do. But I have the insight, and then I'm not using it to create a fair circumstance. I'm doing something that might benefit me. And so we're overly critical towards ourselves. But it's also going to be very hard to have this objective benchmark that we compare ourselves to. Like, what makes a good person? What is the situation where you feel like, oh, I deserve to be the villain in somebody else's story because I actually feel like a villain myself? Or is it a situation where you say, okay, I am the villain in somebody else's story, but I'm totally okay with being myself? And this benchmark is just not going to be something that we can hold on to without having external feedback. That's just what it is. It's really, really hard. So that's why I encourage you, when you're around people who give you the impression of, oh, you're not a good person because you're not putting in the effort that you should. You're not a good person because you were too selfish. You're not a good person because you don't have any emotions, in a way of, oh, you're too cold. All of those things, despite the fact that, of course, all of it is an interpretation of ourselves. But if you believe that people have such an impression on you and it rubs off on you, so you believe you actually have to prove to them that you had no bad intentions or that you did put all the effort in and all of that, all of those thoughts, if they come up, it's a great sign to reevaluate how we define our self-worth in a way of, am I a good person or not? Am I really a villain here? Did I not put enough effort into it? And in a lot of ways, we're the only ones who can really tell that we made a mistake or not. That's okay. Situations really teach us, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And situations that we didn't think were that bad. But it's on us to actually forgive ourselves in that moment. It's to understand, okay, that person might not accept my apology. That does not mean that I have to explain myself over and over again, because I am not just when it comes to what kind of criterias I have when it comes to my own character in comparison to other people's character. And so if I have a sense of I have to do better because I actually know better, then I always say, find an outlet to do good. Have something which proves to you I'm putting in all the effort that I know I have. Yes, I need to make sure that I am full of energy, that I feel my best. To this day, yes, I could put in a lot more effort into my business. I could put a lot more effort into my family. I could put a lot of effort in everything that I do, but it just wouldn't be something that's sustainable. I've now found a level where I know this is as much as I can push myself and feel good about what I'm doing, because this is something that I can hold on to. This is something that I could theoretically do forever. And the same thing when it comes to effort is also about, am I a good person with, how I talk to other people, if I manipulate other people, and so on. And so if I have knowledge that is based on, let's say, my INFJ gift of how I understand people and so on, use it for something good. Use it in an outlet where okay, I'm giving some insight. I'm not gatekeeping my knowledge. I'm allowing that to come out. And I'm not keeping it back in order to have leverage over other people or as a security blanket. Because you have to think of it like this. If you start expressing who you are, people will like you less. Generally speaking, people will open up to you less because they just cannot project so much onto you. This is a strategy. We have to accept this. We're human beings. Everybody goes through life having some kind of strategy of how am I going to present myself to other people in order to create rapport, in order to create the best circumstance for me, for others, whatever it may be. And one of our default states is we go through life and we don't really express all our knowledge. We don't let people know everything that we know, everything that we're capable of, because of two reasons. First off, why? Like, I don't need to go around and boast, oh, I know so much in this area, or, like I've done that and that and that. That's one of the reasons. But the other reason is also that if people don't know what you know, if people don't know that you can read them, if people don't know that directly you have an idea of why they act this way or all of that, then they will open themselves up more to you and they will give you more insights into who you are. And, this isn't about one particular person, because the moment you have an outlet, right, and you start actually talking your truth and you become this version of yourself and, you expand it more and more, it doesn't mean that when you meet a person, you directly tell them, oh, I have this outlet. If you would watch that outlet, you would know all of the knowledge that I have, and you know that I can read you, and, this is how I go through life. That's not it. But it's one thing if you show up as this timid version of yourself, that watered down version of yourself, or if you show up already having created the narrative around you. I'm holding firm on my value of being a good person because I know I'm not gatekeeping my biggest gift. I'm not gatekeeping what I have more of than others, because every single person has something that they're better at than other people, right? Even if you look at it from the perspective of personality types, let's say the sensors, they have an advantage because they can actually do a lot of things. They can be present, they can do things on the fly. Our advantage is like in the way of understanding people. And we have concepts and we have a good understanding of who is going through what and all of that. So if we find a healthy way to share what we know and to really make it available and to say, I'm not keeping it close to my heart because that way people will not be intimidated by me. It's not that you're telling them that there is an outlet. It's not that you're telling them the things that you know. It's just if you hold on to your sense of, how good you feel about yourself, that's a channel that's just not open for others to enter anymore. Let me explain this because I think this might be a little bit complicated. So if you are not firm on how you feel about yourself, you're going to take in everybody's input in order to get a clearer view on if you're a good person or not. And if we get around people who give us the impression of the way you are is wrong, and I'm hurt because of your actions, independent of, who was wrong or who was not wrong. And let's say you apologize, let's say you even see your mistake, but that person just doesn't stop. They want you to feel bad. They're continuously feeding on the fact that you don't dare to fight back because you think, oh, that would make me a bad person. You don't dare to, stop apologizing and just say, okay, then you think I'm a bad person, whatever, this is what I'm going to do. Like, really think about how often somebody has been mean towards you and you had the perfect comeback. You knew exactly what you could say that would hurt them, but you're not doing it because you don't want to hurt them. And imagine that one of the reasons why you don't want to hurt them is because you don't want them to feel bad about you. Because if they would feel like you're a bad person and the channel of self-worth is still open, as in like their opinion of your self-worth has an impact on you, then it's going to make you feel like a bad person. Remember, it's our critic function. It's the one thing that is the hardest for us. So if you, for example, would pretend, like really think of the expression of pretending, because in the end, like holding firm to who you are is nothing more than pretending, but never stopping to pretend pretty much. So let's say I would pretend I'm very self-confident. So how would that look like? Well, I would go into a crowd and I would hold on to my version of self-confidence. So this is not the way of I'm just going to do the things that people tell me that I should do so I would look self-confident. It would just be, this is who I am. I can play this role. I can play that role. Right now, I'm playing the role of I'm completely self-confident in who I am. And nobody can shake me. So if this was, for example, your task, you would say, okay, I'm going into a room of people for 3 minutes. It's an exercise. Hold on to, I'm really self-confident about myself. No matter what somebody says about me, no matter who thinks something of me, doesn't matter because I'm really holding on to this image. We all can do this, right? This is actually all about setting boundaries. Like, we are okay to some extent if people think we're weird, right? We're not going to go out of our way to be weird, but at the end of the day, we've experienced this often enough, and it's like not something we're going to go out of our way to convince others, right? Or, whatever it may be. Or if people think we're like just not smart enough, and like, okay, let them think whatever they want. If they need to think that in order to push up their egos, like, fine. But this villain thing is a big issue because it's holding us back and it's keeping us connected with the wrong people. And so what I have found is something that gives you great feedback of, am I a good person or not, is the fact of, am I using what I know in a way that could benefit others? And I'm making the choice. I'm not saying, oh, that person needs me, and I'm going to shove it down their throat of how I could help them. I'm just saying, look, this is what I got to offer one way or another, right? You have an outlet where you share what you know. You have a way to express what you know. You have a way to express what you have to give. Because of course there are people out there who would benefit from what you have to say and what you have to know, who would be so grateful for that information. And if you're making it available for other people, if you are at the same time putting in all the effort that you are capable of, then you know that you're doing the best that you can. So it doesn't really matter if somebody thinks that you're a villain or not, because you know that you're already doing everything in your power to be a good person in your eyes. And if you on top get the feedback of, oh, thank you so much, this really helped me, this will help you additionally to hold on to the sense of, I am a good person. Because remember, this is something that we struggle with. Probably a lot of people who do way less than you think of themselves as better people than we, if we even overextend ourselves. There's a reason why there's this continuous pattern of us putting more into relationships than we're getting back. It is partially because of that, because we think that's what we need to do in order to prove that we're worthy. And on top of that, we want the feedback from somebody else that we're worthy. And if we don't get that, we're going to feel bad about ourselves because we're having this channel open. So that person thinks you're a bad person, you're going to think you're a bad person. But if you know, okay, I'm not going to leave that channel open. I don't need the external feedback from that one particular person that I'm a good person or not, because I'm already doing the things that I know I can do. This is what is in my power right now. This is the effort that I can bring. This is something that I can share. And I don't do this from the perspective of, oh, do things for me. This is really coming from a place, what can I give? What can I do to contribute, right? For the people around me. And of course it starts with, self-love and, what that all entails for us. Mainly that's like, I need inner peace. I need to know that I am safe, that everything is going the way I want. Like my life is really bringing me energy. I'm showing up the way I want. And only through that, I'm giving what is left. Right? Because then you have something that is sustainable. Then it's not something that you expect one person to have power over. So often we have such great expectations of a romantic interest, a best friend, a relative, and so on, because of this one thing. Because they should give us the feedback of, oh, you're a great person. But if you set out to build your life in a way where you know, oh, I'm doing everything in my power, I do what I can right now with what I have, then you're not going to fall back into those traps. From time to time, it will happen because maybe you've allowed somebody to come closer and to cross your boundaries, and then you have to push them out. And in those situations, you recognize, okay, I'm going to make that person feel bad. That person might think I'm a bad person now. And it's going to hurt, but it's more of like an understanding, okay, I need to readjust my boundaries. This shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have allowed people so closely in because apparently they have already crossed my boundary and I have allowed it to happen. And why have I allowed it to happen? Because deep down, there's still a part of me which thinks, if I don't do what they want right now, if I don't think of it in a sense of let me have a benefit of a doubt, why they're crossing my boundaries and, whatever their thoughts are, then I'm going to be a bad person because I didn't, give them the benefit of the doubt. But the point is, it is a boundary that was crossed. But if I really work on, proving to myself that I'm doing everything that I can, that I'm doing my best. It doesn't have to be perfect by far, but I know when I'm bringing in the effort that I can bring. I know when I am sharing something where it's not just about me, where I'm doing for others. So a couple of days I watched a little clip by Robert Greene, and he talked about like one of the worst qualities of a person is envy. And you can use envy, in a way of, if you transform it, it can become gratitude, because you can compare yourself with people and situations that you don't have, or you can compare yourself with people who would love to be in your situation, who would love to have the knowledge that you have, who would love your help. And to then say, how can I show up in a way that actually pulls people up? So many INFJs go through life, and I used to be like this, like always thinking I'm not enough and I should be doing all of that and I'm not. But, change your perspective. Go from a place of, oh, there's so many people I could help. For example, I could help somebody who was actually having similar problems to me that I was having 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because there's knowledge, there's experience that would help them in that situation. And I always tell you, there are people who need to hear it from your voice, from your perspective. They are not going to understand me. They're going to understand you though, because every one of us has a different perspective on life. And people will pick up what they can and leave the other things out. And you're the only one who can help people get to the place where you were a year ago to now, or where you were 5 years ago to now. And your voice matters. And when you have an exchange like this, when you have something that you focus on, and when you have something that proves to you, okay, that is something I can hold on to when it comes to my self-worth, I'm not going to keep that channel open so much. That doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect, but at least people who really believe that you have to go above and beyond and it's still not good enough, they are not going to have access to you. And you're going to be okay with people thinking that you're a villain. And so really think about, what if that person thought I was selfish? What if that person thought I was completely self-absorbed? I had bad intentions. I wanted to manipulate them. I wanted to play them. Like, be okay with that. And another example of this is also if you have situations where somebody's being mean towards you and you think in your mind, I knew the exact perfect comeback and I'm not doing it because of how they're going to react. Remember, this is a great sign of, oh, okay, I'm not the master of my own sense of self-worth. What can I do continuously, not once, but like as part of my life that proves to me that I believe I'm a good person? So whenever a situation like this presents itself, we're not going to fall victim to that. We're going to continue on our path because we know there's a worthy cause behind it. And again, I know that the best thing would be to say, of course I'm worthy just by being. I don't need to do anything. But it is just like this in theory. It's very hard to keep that sense of I'm a good person, I'm worthy of all of it, if you don't have a way to contribute to something bigger. It's really, really hard. And that's why we fall victim to those, codependent relationships where we give more than we're giving back. So if you want some more insights and if you want to know steps how to build that life that is really so full, that gets you excited, that makes you feel like a good person, that feels like you're expansive and you continuously grow, then start building your INFJ Epic Life. One of the ways is to join our amazing INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp community. We work together, we grow together, we have a lot of fun, and we learn a lot. So check out the poster if you want some more insights on the concepts and the teachings. And if you want to know more about our community, how we make things happen, how we come together in our live calls, then check out the link in the description and definitely join the waiting list to get access to the early bird price and get notified once we go live. And if you want to watch another video now that is in line with today's topic, then check out the video you see on the screen right now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.